My name is Emily. I'm 38 years old, and what I'm about to say, I've never said out loud before. For most of my life, I felt like I was living behind glass, watching everything, included in nothing, a ghost at my own family's table. You know those families where one child is the miracle and the other just exists? That was mine. I was the one who just existed. It wasn't always like that. Before Laura was born, things were almost normal. My childhood wasn't perfect, but it was warm enough. My parents weren't overly affectionate, but they noticed me. My dad would take me fishing at Grand Traverse Lake. My mom would pack me little notes in my lunch. Once, she even let me help bake a pie for Thanksgiving. It wasn't idyllic, but I felt seen. Then Laura arrived, and everything disappeared. She was born premature, a tiny trembling thing in an incubator covered in wires. I remember Aunt Mira waking me up in the middle of the night, whispering urgently, "Get your things, your mom's in the hospital." No explanations, just chaos. For weeks, I wasn't allowed to see her. I stayed with Grandma Jane, who distracted me with puzzles and costume jewelry. At first, I thought Laura would just need some time, that once she got stronger, things would go back to normal. They never did. When she finally came home, the house turned cold, silent, clinical. It smelled constantly of bleach and medical ointment. My mom became obsessed with keeping Laura safe. She scrubbed every surface, monitored air quality, taped up the vents. Anytime I so much as sneezed, I was sent away. Not to a doctor, to a relative, like I was contaminated. At first, being with Grandma or Aunt Mira felt like a vacation. They doted on me, took me for ice cream, let me stay up late. But the pattern became clear. Every time Laura had so much as a sniffle, I was gone, shipped off like dangerous cargo. Birthdays came and went. I started counting the number of candles I'd blown out alone. 6 of them, then 8, then all of them. One year, I got a text. "Happy B-Day, sorry, busy with Laura's meds." That was from my mom. By the time I was 10, I had stopped asking to be included. I focused on excelling. Straight A's. Reading 3 grade levels ahead. Winning spelling bees, history bowls, science fairs. I thought, maybe if I shine bright enough, they'll see me. They didn't. One day, I brought home a regional debate trophy. My mother was in the kitchen, sorting Laura's medications. "That's nice, honey." She never even turned around. My dad once asked me to keep my school project, a cardboard model of the Parthenon, in the garage. Laura had asthma now, and dust was dangerous. At 12, I spent 3 months secretly practicing Bridge Over Troubled Water on piano for a school showcase. The night of the performance, Laura had a slight fever. Nobody came. 2 weeks later, Laura squeaked out "hot cross buns" on a plastic recorder, and my entire extended family erupted like she was Mozart reborn. Laura wasn't stupid. She saw how things worked. She learned early that fragility was power. A headache meant skipping chores. A panic attack meant leaving class. A sniffle earned her a week off and gifts. It became her identity. Vulnerability as a brand. I was the opposite. I learned to be invisible, efficient, self-regulating, independent. A word my mother would later use like a compliment, but always with a hint of disdain. Emily doesn't need anyone. I found refuge in books, art history, vintage fashion, antique furniture, Greek mythology. My room became my museum. Laura claimed she was allergic to my lavender diffuser, so she stayed out. It was the only space that was mine. Grandma Jane saw me, really saw me. She had a collection of vintage costume jewelry from estate sales and passed down boxes. We spent hours cataloging it, polishing it, researching stamps and makers. I didn't know it then, but those hours would change everything. High school was survival. I worked after school at Jane and Son's Diner. Karen, the owner, remembered my birthday when my mom didn't. I used tip money to pay for yearbook fees, debate travel, even my prom dress. I got a perfect SAT score, 1,600. I was trembling when I brought the paper home. My mom looked up from Laura's college transfer paperwork and said, "Shh, she's studying." Laura rolled her eyes. Of course she did, Miss Perfect. I got a full ride to the University of Michigan. No one came with me to orientation. Aunt Mira drove me, handed me an envelope. This is from Grandma Jane. She wanted you to have a little cushion. College was the first place I breathed. I joined clubs, debated nationally, worked 3 jobs, graduated summa cum laude. My parents missed the ceremony. Laura had mono. After graduation, I landed a job at a high-end auction house in Detroit. It was unglamorous at first, sorting costume jewelry, untangling chains, matching earrings, but it felt like home. I used everything Grandma Jane taught me. Then I found it. A brooch, mislabeled as plastic. I spent nights researching, wrote a 14-page authentication report. My boss rolled his eyes until it sold for $47,000. That was the beginning. But it wasn't smooth sailing, not even close. 3 months later, I made a huge mistake. Misidentified a Georgian necklace as a reproduction. The client pulled $500,000 in contracts. I cried in the storage closet, thought about quitting. But I remembered Grandma Jane's voice. The only difference between a mistake and a lesson is whether you get back up. I didn't sleep, studied, practiced, built a database, trained junior analysts. Eventually, I was signing contracts with museums, celebrities, even royalty. My boss pulled me aside. "You're too good to work for someone else. Start your own firm." So I did. Sold my car, took out a loan, rented a tiny office above a Chinese restaurant, slept on the floor, ate ramen and dollar coffee, worked 16 hours a day. I cried. I failed. I rebuilt. And I learned. Within a year, high-end clients. By year 3, offices in Detroit, Chicago, and New York. I was authenticating for museums, celebrities, even royalty. My firm made Forbes' watch list. But to my parents, I still worked in a thrift store. Then came Christmas. 2 weeks before my mom called. I threw out my back. I can't cook. I offered catering. She sighed. Don't put yourself in debt. I ordered a $4,000 spread, private chef, custom desserts. Everyone raved. Laura, of course, too busy to cook yourself now? After dessert, I slipped away to monitor a live auction in Hong Kong. My laptop glowed with client dashboards, valuation queues, pending wire transfers. Then she barged in. Where's my charger? She spotted the screen. Wait, is this your account? She grabbed the laptop, marched into the living room, slammed it on the coffee table. On the screen. Account balance, 12.4 million. Last deal, 1.2 million. Quarterly profit, 4.2 million. Clients, 143. Forbes interview. The eye behind the jewels. Silence. My mom, what is this?